Welcome to Wisdom Within Radio, where we strive to learn and share with you the mysteries of spiritual healing, mediumship, quantum physics, and more with your host, your guru, and my friend, Lyndsey Paul.
Hey, thanks. Abraham Deweese, my sidekick, co-host, and comedian, as well as editor-in-chief of Seattle Side Up.
Seattle Sports Union. We just rebranded our sports site, so it's Seattle Sports Union, but thank you very much.
Rebranded to Seattle Sports Union.
Right.
Got
it. But this is Wisdom Within Radio. We're a psychic show.
Yes.
We talk about mediumship. We talk about like spiritual healing and well, just helping people out. Why don't you check us out on Facebook at Quantum Soul or look for her at Medium Lyndsey Paul.
Yeah, well, you can find us on Facebook. He just said Wisdom Within Radio, Lyndsey Paul, which is medium right before it. Twitter is at Lyndsey Paul, LYNDZPAUL. And don't want to forget to subscribe by pressing the button somewhere on the screen. So we are also
down there,
somewhere. But you can also email us your questions. Every week we answer questions and we have giveaways. So this week we have a giveaway we're going to announce the winner of. And you can email your questions to info@wisdomwithinradio.com and we will attempt to answer your questions. But even if we don't answer your questions live on the show, you will also be entered into the contest. So
very cool. What is the contest? What are we giving away?
So for the last few weeks, we have been taking questions for a 30-minute psychic reading giveaway with me. It's valued at almost $100, so absolutely worth it. And who doesn't want something for free?
Again, if you want to enter into this contest, well, actually, we just closed that contest. So we're doing a new one?
Yeah, we are. Every week.
Excellent. Okay. So if you want to enter into the next contest,
yes,
go ahead and ask us. Send us an email. Again, that's info@lyndseypaul.com, or go ahead and go to Facebook, look for Medium Lyndsey Paul, and leave a message there.
Yes. Well, we just had somebody ask on Periscope recommendations for meditations.
Ooh, well, let's respond to that. By the way, we're on Periscope right now. We're going to do this for our shows.
Yes.
You get to see us before and after and during the show. It's a lot of fun. You can ask questions, and let's go ahead and ask that question.
So
answer that question, sorry.
You can ask it and answer it. So recommendations for meditation, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something that is past life, I would highly suggest Brian Weiss. If you're looking for something that is more relaxing, I would highly suggest even just going on YouTube and looking up meditation, relaxation meditation. And actually, what's wonderful about the mind is that you can allow your own mind to go where it wants to go. Just like if we were looking at water pouring out of a spout, Abraham might not find that relaxing, whereas I would find that relaxing. So I would look up maybe on YouTube, Yellow Brick Cinema has some really great, wonderful delta wave sounds, and it goes for like 8 hours. So if you fall asleep, you probably wake up to hearing it, but just make sure your phone or whatever you're listening to it on is charged. Otherwise, you may wake up with a dead battery.
Lyndsey, how long have you been a medium? How long have you been doing this for?
So professionally speaking, I've been doing this since about 2010 or so. And I would say my whole life I've been able to see spirits and interact with them. So psychic, I've been a psychic since as far back as I can remember as well. I've always known things about people that other people don't. I've been able to see energy moving around people. And Christmas was not always fun at our house because I always knew the presents, what I was getting. And I would get in trouble with my mom.
Because they thought you were peeking. They thought you were looking
I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I did peek.
Okay.
My brother and I, we would unwrap just a little. He showed me how you can unwrap a present and rewrap it so that it never looks like it was unwrapped.
Your mediumship's always been really interesting to me. Like, I remember one time we were at the old studio in Bellevue doing the radio show. You looked right past me and looked into the engineering booth, and you saw something.
Yes.
What did you see?
So when I was looking beyond you, I was sort of like you were here and I was looking beyond you, there was something pacing behind you. Of course, I was looking at you and I could see the silhouette of you and your energy, but beyond that, there was sort of this reflective glass. And I remembered looking and seeing somebody walking in the booth and thinking, oh, there must be a producer in there who's maybe getting ready for the next broadcast or doing something on the computer system. And you were really actually freaked out that I was looking beyond you. And
yeah, well, we're trying to do a show
we
here,
were,
and
yeah,
you're like,
right. We were trying to do a show, and he looked
like,
really uncomfortable.
yeah, you were. Well, it wasn't like you were looking around me. You were looking directly at me and then like through me.
Yeah, you weren't there anymore for me. I mean, you actually didn't exist, and what I was seeing was, no, I didn't even see the window at some point. I just saw a man walking back and forth. And so for me, I was tapping into his energy, and it's very similar to, like, do you remember The Matrix, how on The Matrix, Neo is in this room with like all these weapons, and it's just white. It's just completely white. Yeah. But all of a sudden these weapons pop up. That's kind of how it is. Like all of a sudden everything else disappears, and I'm just seeing that spirit standing in front of me with whatever is going on for him. So he was just walking back and forth, and I realized that it wasn't a producer at all.
Okay. So we've done a couple of shows here at the Lucky Shot Studios in Edmonds, Washington. Have you ever seen anything here?
You know, when I walk in, sometimes I notice the dog's energy, and the dog isn't even there. So I believe we showed our Periscope viewers this, but Rory is Bob's dog, and it was very interesting. I was in the living room, and I saw what looked like Rory, and then there wasn't Rory. And I was like, maybe my hair is in the way, because as a person who sees things, I might think, oh, is there a piece of hair in my eye, or is this energy? So you have to always kind of go back to debunking what you're seeing too, just to make sure that there isn't like a piece of fuzz like hanging in your eye. But in this case, it looked like actually like a phantom dog.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Phantom dog.
And you're certain it was him?
It could have been a Rory lookalike, but there was another dog running around. So.
Oh, okay, very cool, very cool. All right, so you do spiritual healing as well. Do you do things such as Reiki?
Yes, Reiki. I'm a Reiki master, so I have been attuned to Reiki level 1, Reiki level 2, and then the master level. And each attunement opens up the chakras not only in the crown of the head, but in the hands to allow universal light energy to move through. So with that, yes, I do healing, and one of my other loves is yoga. I'm a yogi.
I know.
I love doing yoga.
I know how much you love this.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've never been able to do that. Not just physically. I'm not really that limber.
We were just talking about meditation. Abraham, have you ever tried to meditate before?
Yes.
You have.
Yeah.
Did that work for you?
Yes.
So you've done yoga, because yoga is part of the 8 limbs of yoga is meditation. So you actually have done yoga before.
I thought yoga was just all the moving around.
Nope. So it's interesting because the entire ancient scripts that talk about yoga only mention the physical part of yoga in like two lines, and the rest of it is all about the seat. The physical part of it, the asana is what they call it, asana or poses, is actually creating the physical seat for you to sit and step into doing yoga. But doing yoga it's really almost like a lifestyle for me. So meditation, breathing, breath work, relating to others, and there's so many beautiful things that I've gotten from it. But yeah, it's not just the physical part.
Now you went to India to study yoga, right?
Yes.
You've been twice?
I have been twice to India, 2012, and then this year still 2015. What year is it? I don't know.
Whatever year this
whatever,
is. Yeah.
Whatever.
It's about 16. It's almost 16. But what'd you get out of it? I know what you got out of it the first time. You got to immerse yourself into the Indian culture, and you were at, some compound or something in northern India. But,
compound? No, it was what it is. It's a really beautiful retreat center near this really sacred river near, actually in the Himalayan mountains. So when you go there, yeah, actually it was. They call it the Ganga River, even though it looks like it's spelled the Ganges. Like everybody in India calls it Ganga, or Ma Ganga. She represents the mom or the mother. So yeah, we stayed next to this really beautiful retreat center, or in this retreat center with like these really healthy organic foods. And I was there for almost 4 weeks the first time, and this last time I was there for about 5 weeks. So
okay.
Yeah.
So what did you get out of it the second time that you didn't get out of it the first time? The first time, I'm sure you were awash with culture and new experiences and learning. What did you get out of it the second time?
So the second time that I went to India, I was able to refine my knowledge of yoga. And what's interesting is once you've done something really shocking once, the next time you go back, it's not as shocking. And I don't know if you've experienced going to a third world country before, but the second time you go back, you know what to expect, and it's not as there's not as much trepidation when you go back, and you know what to expect. And so you're actually more open to the experience and blending with the experience even more. And so there was a deeper, richer experience for me on a spiritual level and on an energetic level. My mind and my emotions weren't as distracted by the environment. It sort of became white noise to me. So for me, I was able to learn not only more about yoga, but more about myself, and diving deeper into the self is yoga. So yeah, I mean, the second time I went, I would tell anyone to go, because it really is an experience that I learned from. I don't know if you would go back. Now you've been to India too. You were born there, right?
Oh, but I wouldn't go for yoga. I don't.
No, you would go. I would see a motorcycle journey for Abraham.
I would love the motorcycle journey. Let's talk a little bit about that, but we need to run to a break. This is Wisdom Within Radio with Lyndsey Paul, and I'm Abraham Deweese. We'll be right back. We got a question from Periscope. What is self-driven meditation?
So yeah, we were just talking about meditation at the very beginning of the show. When we're saying self-driven meditation, we're talking about the meditation that you're just doing for yourself. It's not someone talking to you. It's not really, you're not being guided. And so you allow yourself to do your own meditation. And this may be thinking about something relaxing, listening to music, clearing your mind. Remember we talked about...
I do that.
Yeah, I mean, clearing... So you meditate.
Yes, I guess I do.
Meditation doesn't have to be cross-legged, listening to like somebody guide you through it, right?
Yeah, so a long car ride to work or home from work, I turn on that music and I kind of zone out. And I kind of forget the reality of the situation of where I'm at. I'm on some sort of like low function, high function but low energy mode. I can evade other cars. I can get to where I need to go, but I'm actually mentally kind of somewhere else. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, sort of like when you are looking at Felicia Day. Maybe you go into, did you see the smile?
Bob, I need a big picture of Felicia Day right now.
When you go into
insert that in the
meditation, just simply means pausing the mind and stopping the mind chatter that is going on in there. And you might be thinking when you're driving, turn left, turn right, blinker, slow down, speed up. And so you're tasking yourself, but when the mind itself can come to a place where it's paused, and they call it the cessation of the mind, that's meditating. It doesn't have to be, and it's preferably in the yogic culture better if you're sitting upright, so that the electricity that's moving through you is moving through the spine, and that there's no kinks in the hose or kinks in the cord. But yeah, when we're talking about self-driven meditation, it's just you. And how many of you have ever been driving somewhere and all of a sudden been like, how did I get here? I don't even remember the driving part.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It's like, yeah, sometimes
this could be dangerous. He might be doing, well, there's a certain amount that the brain automates, and your brain is automating your driving at that moment. And your body might know what it's doing, and your spirit may be taking a little break while you're doing that. So,
Lyndsey, I've got another question here. This one's from Raquel.
Okay.
And Raquel asks, what do I do next?
Raquel. See, these are general questions, and a lot of psychics hate answering them, but I love them because it leaves it's so open. And it leaves it so open for me to really like dive into what I pick up and what I'm getting. So Raquel, I feel like you are on the right track. I feel like you're really doubting yourself and you're hesitating on some of the things that you've been doing lately, and just trust that the path that you're on is the path you're supposed to be on. Quit looking back and wondering if you did the right thing. It's really slowing you down and preventing the momentum to get to the goals of where you want to go next. But enjoy the journey that you are on versus just
living in that past.
Well, and then the destination isn't just the end point, because then what do you do once you get to that destination? What are you enjoying really? So enjoy yourself as you move forward. And there's no real finish line per se for you in this. It's going to be an evolution, and it's going to keep continuing. So
okay. There's a good question here on the internet. It's about John Holland and what your thoughts of John Holland are.
John Holland is a medium. He's one of my favorites. I like him a lot. And he is somebody I've actually learned from twice twice. I went on a cruise and saw him with Sonia Choquette. I love Sonia Choquette.
A cruise?
A cruise to the Caribbean.
Are there psychic cruises?
I guess you.
No?
Okay, so
right.
I mean, there are, and they aren't. They actually, what's interesting about the cruises is that you're over the water, and water's a conduit of energy, and so people who have psychic abilities, who tend to either live near waterways, who live near lakes, or let's just say you're on a cruise boat, your psychic abilities will be heightened. So if you're psychic, you may feel like you're just supercharged. You may have a hard time sleeping too.
So this wasn't a psychic cruise. It was a cruise that you took with a couple of other psychics.
Yes.
John Holland. And John Holland happened to be on it.
Right. He happened to be on it. And I've actually met him 10 years before that. And he's such an interesting person. He's really quite accurate. I actually received a reading from him, and he's beautiful. I loved what he brought through. It was real. One of the things that we like to do when we're doing mediumship readings is we connect to the spirit, we blend with their energy, but we bring through evidence, and then we bring through the reason that they came through, and then we tie up the reading. So John Holland brought through this really awesome evidence. He said that my fish tank was cracked, and we didn't know at the time that it was cracked. We went home and it had a crack in it. So yeah, that's just an example of awesomeness from John Holland.
Okay, great. Was he a nice guy?
He's a really cool guy.
Okay.
He likes wearing Merrells too, which is very REI.
The shoes?
Pacific Northwest, yeah.
The kind of slip-on shoes?
Yeah, he liked them.
All right, okay, great. Well, we have some other questions. By the way, we're on Periscope right now, and we have a question. Any experience with PM George Anderson?
No, I have not.
Never heard of George Anderson.
PM George Anderson, I would presume, is a medium. But if our Periscope user wants to say who he is, that would be awesome. We could refer to it in our podcast here.
We have an email question, Lyndsey, from Dylan. And Bob, our technical director, please don't giggle. Dylan asks, what is the pinprick sensation that I'm feeling, and where is it stemming from?
So on a physical level, if you're feeling a pinprick sensation, it can be a lack of circulation. It can also be that you have a muscle strain. So check out the physical side of it. Mentally, when you're overthinking things, it depends on where this pinprick sensation is. If you're overthinking things, you can sort of get that on the top of your scalp. But when somebody is channeling energy through, you're going to feel sort of this tingling sensation. And you might get it on the top of your head. You might get it somewhere on your body. And also, if a spirit is touching you, you can have the same sensation. And that's from my experience. There may be a plethora of other answers, but Dylan, I feel like you're channeling energy through, and that is why you're getting sort of this tingling sensation. You're opening up, and that's a good thing. Yeah.
So we've got another question from Periscope, again about George Anderson. If you're out there on Periscope, give us a little hint as to who that is, and we'll do some research. Lyndsey knows a lot of psychics, but you can't know everybody, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many out there, and there's so many that are talented, and I think that the culture of what we're in now is starting to envelop and really support people who are mediums and psychics.
You actually run I wouldn't call it a support group, but you run a group from East West Books every other Thursday, is that right?
Yeah, we do it the second and the fourth Thursdays at East West Books. And what we do is we just invite intuitives or people who are professional, or maybe they're just learning about their abilities, to come and join us, and it's free.
Excellent. And that's at East West Books. It's in Seattle on 65th and Roosevelt.
Yeah. 3:30 to 5:30 as well.
Do you guys have a schedule on your Facebook page?
We do. Well, actually, we have our own group. So Intuitive together with an exclamation mark is our group, and please come join it. We have to approve your request, and it's a closed group, so the rest of the public can't really see what you're writing in there unless they're a member.
Excellent. So. Okay, we got another question. This one's from Erin. Is my current boyfriend the one?
Erin, I get so much hesitation in that question, and it's not just because of the way that Abraham said it, but when you say, is my current boyfriend the one, I doubt that you would be asking this question if he was somebody that you absolutely knew 100% was the one. I feel that there's some doubt, and I feel like doubt is one of your biggest downfalls in this relationship, is that you're doubting every move that he makes and every move that you make. And I feel as a result of having that space, there's this sense of frustration and things aren't really clicking in. I would say give this relationship a little bit of space. It feels like you need your own space to really kind of reflect on some things. give yourself a few self-care days and just relax and let yourself have the space that you need. I also feel that you've been single for a while, and that being so independent and not really having somebody else there in your space could be really irritating to all of a sudden have someone so close. It can feel smothering sometimes. And so give yourself the space that you need and allow yourself to communicate that and honor yourself when you're feeling that way.
Excellent, excellent. I always thought about it this way. If somebody's asking the question, if they're thinking that this is not the right one, then aren't they intuitively saying to themselves, no, this isn't right?
Well, doubt is a tricky thing. The mind is very good at sabotaging you. If you are facing something that you've not faced either in a while or you've never been in front of before, we can self-sabotage things for ourselves and ruin it for ourselves. So it's not always the intuition talking. Sometimes it's really the mind overthinking things and overanalyzing and observing, and turn off that talking. And this goes back to meditation. Meditation allows you to turn off the mind and the chatter that's happening. You may even have other voices in there of other people who are talking to you. Maybe it's your mom, or maybe it's your best friend who's like, I don't like him, blah, 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 blah. So with all of these things that are going on in here, you may even be thinking about tasking and doing other things like, I need to work, I need to go here, I need to do this. So allow yourself to come to a place where you're paused and you're at a place of peace, and the answer usually just flows right to you.
Okay, got another question from the internet, from Periscope, that is.
Ooh, Periscope, I love this.
What are soul ties? And that is a good question. I have no idea what a soul tie is.
So I presume soul ties, if we're talking about a tie to another soul, these are just like a soul contract. Before we came here, I really do believe that we've planned or we've blueprinted the things that we want to experience. Not every single thing. Some of the major things, like I want to evolve and I want to spiritually grow, or I want to take care of some of these issues that I've not dealt with in other lifetimes. So when we have been tied to another soul, it's because of a choice that we made to be more or less to have a contract. I'm going to replace the word tie with contract. So you've contracted with another person to be in their life or to have them in your life. And this may be as simple as walking by someone in a grocery store, and the resonance of your vibration of who you are energetically will affect them in some way or help them feel something. And that can be as simple as it is. On a deeper level, they're usually relationships that we've had in many lifetimes. And so Abraham, I'm going to just pick on you for a second. I feel like Abraham is one of my soul ties. He's been in my life now for, I don't even know.
10 years.
No, more than that, 15.
Yeah,
at least
15
at
years.
least 15 years. I want to say 10, but I think I met him right when I first started working there. I think you were roaming or something. Yeah. When we were working at AT&T Wireless together, and he's a soul tie. No matter how much I've tried to get away, I've always somehow come back into contact with him. And the beautiful part of that is that we have some sort of soul contract to do the work that we're doing together. We have a tie that will end one day. It's temporary, just like maybe all relationships
like our lives are, right?
Yeah, lives are temporary. This identity of who I am is temporary, but ultimately that may end, and we'll evolve past this.
Somebody asked about the soul tie, and I was thinking maybe it was my soul patch just long enough to go into a tie. The thing is, okay, let me ask another question.
This
Let's
is
get
what
back on track.
okay, yes.
Get back on track here. Okay, so Kim has a question.
Yeah.
Her question is, I have 3 destinations on the list for relocating, wondering which is the best for me. Tampa, Galveston, or Puerto Rico. You getting anything out of this?
Yes, I am. Wait, should I do like a crystal ball moment? We'll call them crystal ball moments. So it's funny because I'm looking at this and I feel like Tampa is the most logical for you, and yet I feel on a soul level that the real experience that exists for you are in Puerto Rico. And I get temporary, so I don't feel long term. When you're saying relocating, I feel like you just have to make the commitment and jump. And sometimes that is one of the scariest things because you really don't know what you're going to be landing in. But Puerto Rico is where I really resonate for you. Tampa would be a good second. I don't get Galveston at all. I don't know if there's family ties there that you feel obligated to go there, but I'm not getting Galveston. No Galveston. So.
No Galveston?
No Galveston.
Are you getting that there's no Galveston? Like there's a hurricane that's about to wipe it out?
No,
or-
I mean, no.
Just not for Kim.
Not for
No
Kim.
Galveston for Kim.
Right. None for Kim.
All right. Well, we're getting towards the end of our show, but if you have a quick question on Periscope, feel free to put it in now.
Yes.
We're monitoring that, but I just want to throw out there that we were doing a giveaway, and we have a lucky winner. Who is our winner, Lyndsey?
This is our sound effect. Sorry, guys.
This is our drum roll.
Drum roll is Lola. Lola
Yay.
won a 30-minute psychic reading with me, Lyndsey Paul, valued at $100. So I will be getting in touch with Lola. If you have questions, remember to ask them either in the YouTube comments below. You can go Twitter us at Lyndsey Paul, which we've already announced at the very beginning of this, and you can go back and listen and find out what it is. Or you can email us as well. We've given all that information, so check us out.
Check us out. All right, great. I want to thank everybody that joined us on Periscope. Do we have time for one last question?
I think one more question could be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do I help my fiance get through her mother's death last week? I like this question. I like this a lot because that's something that Lyndsey had to struggle with last year and maybe to this day.
Yeah.
This will be our last question for the day. Can you answer that
So
one?
yes, my mom passed away about a year ago, and my grandpa's on his way out. Actually, I got a message tonight saying my grandfather is dying. Right now, as we're broadcasting, my grandpa's getting ready to go. So how do you help
someone
else grieve that? Just be there for them. Like really, one of the best things you can do is if you don't have the words, if you don't have the right things to say, don't overthink it. Just go offer them like a touch on the shoulder or a touch on the back, or offer them like something like a cup of coffee or something to eat. Sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves when we're in this deep grief. We forget to really do these other things that are great for us. And so it's nice to have a nurturing person around you. On a different level, as far as grieving, the grieving's never going to end. There's not an end date to it. So I would highly suggest just telling him that. Say, look, the grief's not going to end. It's going to be something 20, 30 years from now you may feel, and you may be crying and may be really upset. But there are other people out there who are going through what he's gone through. There's lots of people who have written blogs. There's lots of support groups, and I think even getting a mediumship reading could be really helpful, but I suggest at least waiting a couple of weeks after the death has occurred to allow the spirit to fully transition and allow the person who's grieving to be able to get to a point where they can talk about it. Because sometimes when we want to jump into something, we still feel like it's almost like a reaction versus really giving us that space to experience. So I would say even just put your hand on their shoulder, be there for them, listen to them. I mean, that was the best for me.
How do you get them to talk about it? I mean, like, it would seem kind of intrusive if he just showed up and said, like for this person, it's their fiance. Mm-hmm. Aren't they going to resent you trying to bring up the subject over and over again?
Well, yes and no. If you're emotionally aware and you're awake, then you are already aware that those emotions exist, that those thoughts have been with you, and that it may be a touchy subject, but really suppressing these feelings are more unhealthy. If somebody says, though, if they don't want to talk about it, they're not quite there yet, give them the space. I think there are all of these, if you look on the table of grieving, there's all these things that we go through when we're grieving: isolation, deep depression, manic feelings. I mean, there's so many things. So really just sort of, you can't really anticipate everything, but you can identify where they're at in that process. There's been so many studies done on it, and my stepdad is still grieving, and there's still times when I find myself isolating myself because I just want to have a pajama day and think about my mom and not have to interact with people. So give him the space that he needs, but also look at the person just the way that you would want to be treated. That's the best way to go about it, and also I think offer that loving touch. That loving touch is very healing.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have today. Thank you for everybody joining us on Facebook. Sorry we couldn't get to all your questions, but check us out. This is a YouTube episode that's going to be up under Wisdom Within Radio with Lyndsey Paul and me, Abraham Deweese.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, guys. We look forward to seeing you again on our next broadcast.